do this. Ready, bud? No, not barking at people. You on camera now? Did you? No, we're not barking at the doggy dogs. No. 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 Dummy. And of course, alright, sorry, we went from the Wi-Fi just in the house. We should be good now. Did I lose you guys? You guys back? Did I lose you? Must have lost everybody. Reconnect. Wayos, what up? What up, what up, what up? Wearing my Bills old school hat in lieu of the Josh Allen yesterday. Go grab some double shot. Get ready for these games. Ready to see how well my weekly research has done to me. Hopefully win some money. Hopefully. Hope everybody's doing well. Pretty nice here in Mini. Quados would know it's a little cool. Sun's shining though. Not such a bad day. I have family in Buffalo. Yeah, I know. We were talking about that yesterday when I got that Josh Allen. That's awesome. He's a real deal. Real deal. So I was hoping I will see if a couple more people will pop in here. Want to talk some football, have some questions. I know Fester usually has some questions for me whenever I am live about my takes or who I feel, what I'm looking at. Balls, you got any NFL questions or anything for me today or anyone else? I'm trying to get used to this new thingy-majogger I got. Yeah, Zoe's in the house. Yeah, Zoe was freaking out when we first left because somebody was walking their dog walking by. So it's funny because I've told this story before, but when we go on walks and we go do things, if she's outside of a car, she won't do anything really. Every once in a while, she'll like want to try to whatever, just to show her, hey, I'm tough. But usually it's only when she's in a car and we drive by like dogs and stuff, she gets all crazy, like attack mode in the car. Just something with her being in a car. I think she gets a little anxiety, you know. She's always kind of like giving me her paws a lot of times, and like, you know, I don't know what it is. You know, some dogs just get a little nervous in cars. She's been riding with me ever since she was a pup. You'd think by now she'd get used to it, but I mean, she always wants to go when I ask her, and then she gets in the car and then she gets a little high. I'm wearing my seatbelt. That's because Zoe's weight is telling the car is saying her seatbelt's not connected. Bears or Colts? Who do you got? So it really depends on what Nick Foles we get today, I think, for the Bears. If the big dick Nick Foles shows up and you know, he's slanging and he's on, I think they'll beat the Colts. However, I do feel like Jonathan Taylor is in a very good spot this week, especially in DFS. I think a lot of people are going to shy away from him. He did find the end zone last week, but he did not perform the way he did the first couple weeks. So I am going back to Jonathan Taylor a bit, but I do think the Bears can win. Again, it really depends on what Nick Foles you guys get, or what Nick Foles shows up today. If you get the big dick Nick, I think there's no issues, no worries. Yeah, that's his nickname. They've nicknamed him that since back in, God, how many teams has he been on now? Because he's done what he did with the Bears last week. He's done that with like every team he's been on, just like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like that dude, there's something that they have in them where they've never been able to have like a long, solid career with one team successful. but they have certain games and they have this ability inside them to, like, when it's on the line and when they come in to replace somebody or this or that they just get it done. Like, they can just get it done. So again, if the right Big Dick Nick shows up, you guys will beat the Colts. Again, I think Jonathan Taylor's in for a good day. Now, that narrative can kind of be skewed if the Colts, if Big Dick Nick shows up and they score a bunch of touchdowns fast and they can't really rely on the run, then my whole narrative of Jonathan Taylor having a good day or bounce back week kind of goes down the drain. So, as far as the Texans-Vikings, I mean, as far as how we performed, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a shootout. I'll tell you guys that in DFS, since the Cam game got canceled, Cam was my cash quarterback this week. So I took the easy route. Watson was like 2 or 3 for me on quarterbacks for cash. So I just switched from Cam Newton to Deshaun Watson because he was, I think, $100 less on FanDuel than Cam. So it's just an easy change. And I already have Brandon Cooks, and I did a lot of tournament stacks where I did like Watson, Cooks, Fuller, and then I ran it back with either Dalvin Cook, because I think Dalvin's going to have a big day today, and a few lineups where I did, instead of Cook, I did Justin Jefferson as a run back. So I think I talked to you guys a little bit about it yesterday, that Seattle-Miami game. I don't know that it gets to 55. I think that right now. I think, there'll be a lot of scoring in the first half, but I feel like Seattle's going to kind of run away with it. And I feel like, Chris Carson would be in a great spot, but I don't think that he's going to be utilized or played or need to be played second half. And I think, Carlos Hyde's out this week. He's sitting. So Travis Homer could be a long shot for a play. It's a long shot. I'm not saying like Travis Homer is a lock in a tournament or whatnot, because Carson could play the whole game. But I feel like, and that's a lot of times when you're building these tournament lineups, you need to think about, you're talking about game script, you're talking about narrative. Things need to correlate, right? And I just feel like Russ is probably going to have a good day, but it's not going to be like an insane day, because I don't feel like they're going to be able to keep up with Seattle. I don't know. And on the flip side, on DraftKings, Fitzpatrick is so cheap. He's so cheap that I did take a shot on him on a couple tournament lineups. Actually, I think I might even played him in cash just because of his price point. His price point is so cheap. What's up, Tom? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Dude, I went to Super for my flu shot, and it was supposed to... Dude, I went to Super for my flu shot, and it was supposed to RF. I'm not sure what you mean, buddy. Sorry, Cody. Not sure what that means. What's up, Tom T? Good to see you, man. Did who buy all the Fairfield? Oh. What rookie receiver would you rather roll with today? I would say Jefferson. I don't think Jefferson's going to have the same week he had last week. I think that's unrealistic. I mean, not unrealistic. It can happen, but I can see him finding the end zone. I can see him having 4 or 5 catches. If he breaks one or one's a deep route. Is it possible? Yes. But I would play him this week. I'd play him over T. Higgins. Absolutely. That's what I would do. Not enough games to establish a floor. In response. Oh, okay, I got you. My bad. Yeah, I missed some of these comments. That's what threw me off. What's up, Terry? How you doing, buddy? Terry, I'm actually dropping off your package right now. Tom, I'm still stacking some stuff for you, but I got a bunch of packages. Guys, keep the chat going. I'll be right back. I'm at the post office. I know it's Sunday, but I have all my labels already printed. I just got to drop them in the thing, so I don't have to do it tomorrow. Monday's always busy for me. But I got a bunch of packages going out. Things that have been sitting on, because we were going to maybe have more auctions, and we probably still will, but I'm just trying to get some of the stuff that had mini stacks out. I'm just shipping out. Balls, you got a package. I've been stacking up stuff for you. Tom, I still have your little stack. I'm finding more stuff. You guys keep the chat going. I'll be right back. Take me a second. All right. So anyone think Bengals get their first win? And who wins the Dallas Cleveland game? That game right there is very interesting to me today. And I know Zeke, if we're talking DFS, I know Zeke's going to be very popular. Probably not as popular as Kamara with Michael Thomas out. That game is interesting to me. That's going to be a fun game. I mean, I think more people would be saying Dallas is going to win it. Probably a higher probability that they do. However, I really like, I actually even made a Baker stack where I did Baker, Landry, and Beckham. I did that on DraftKings. It's a little cheaper. Does Beckham's only, what, 5,800? And I forget what Landry's price tag was. And then running it back with Zeke. See, because that's going to be Zeke's going to be higher owned. Not as high as Kamara. But nobody's going to go to Landry. Nobody's going to go to Beckham today. Nobody's going to go to Mayfield today. So I think a tournament shot, that's a good play. And you could even, if you didn't want to run it back with Zeke, you could even run it back with either Lamb, Gallup, Cooper. And then I did a stack where I did Prescott, Schultz, and Cooper. And then I ran it back with either Beckham or Landry. And Landry's going to be even lower owned than Beckham, even though Landry's price is cheaper. So, but that game interests me a lot. I like that. That's a good call. The Cowgirls, LOL. Yeah, Dax. They have such a good team though. Like, hate them or love them, and I'm not a Cowboy fan, but I am a Dak fan just because he's good. I mean, he's a good quarterback. You know, he's up there with Russ. So. Oh look, we got Zoe Zoe's chilling in the frames. I love it. This is what Sunday morning's all about. Going to get some coffee before football, talking a little football. Got Zoe out riding next to me. The way it's been for the last 4 years. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Alright. Browns defense looked decent last week with some of their injuries back. Yeah, and again, like, I love that game. You know, so many people are going to be on this Seattle-Miami game, which I get it. I totally get it. You know, 55-point total. You know, look what Russ has been doing. Miami's 3-0. I understand why people are going there. And I think if we're talking like DFS, I think the way to get creative with how chalky players are going to be from that game is to do like a Fitz Magic, Glisky, whatever the hell his name is, the tight end, and maybe Parker, and then run it back with both Lockett and Metcalf. Even though you'd think play two receivers without the quarterback, the correlation doesn't seem right. But I think that's how you get different. I think that's how you get creative. I think that's, and again, you have to get creative to take down a tournament. You're not going to take down a tournament doing exactly the same things everybody else does. You have to find that low ownership somewhere. And it may only take two spots. Quarterback, a flex, or receiver, or tight end, running back. When I won that, well, Balls knows, when I won that big tournament on FanDuel last year, majority of my players were 20 to 25% owned. My quarterback was 4% owned. And I'm trying to remember what else. I think I had one running back that was like 5% owned. Everybody else was like 20% plus owned. And this was a main slate tournament. So a lot of games. That's high. In NFL, you can almost build like a cash style lineup for tournaments and then just get different one or two places and you can take it down. MVS, yeah, man, big on him on the Sunday Monday slates. Well, on DK, they changed it where they added all the slates because of the two other games being out. So they consider that like their main slate or their 13th slate this week. On FanDuel, they're still separated. So it's like the Sunday Monday slate. But yeah, MVS I think is a fine play. Fine play. New Orleans, who I like, is their tight end because Cook is out. Their only tight end they have right now is going to be Troutman. He's 2,500 on DK. He's 4,000 flat on FanDuel. But he's gonna run routes. He's gonna be in a high percentage of the snaps. It's maybe somewhat of a little bit of a punt play, but he's the only option at tight end for them. So I got a little bit of Troutman in my lineups. I have never done a DFS, but thinking about it this year since I am in fantasy leagues. What is your preferred site? So Terry, my preferred site is FanDuel, and I don't know why, because to be honest with you, I've been playing since 2014, daily every day, so for 6 years now. And DraftKings used to be called Draft Street at one time. That's where I actually first started playing. And it's funny when you hear a lot of these like touts. Touts are guys that talk on shows for like DFS companies and tout their plays, talk about who they're on, whatever. But whenever their name gets Draft Street gets brought up, it's just hilarious because it just brings back a lot of memories. But because their pricing was really weird, it was really hard. It was just, it was difficult. Like it was impossible to find value back then. So, but again, the ability and how well people were, there wasn't really a huge edge because it was still so new. But I'm FanDuel, I think, Terry, FanDuel, a lot of people would say that FanDuel, the pricing is a lot more lenient. There's a lot more flexibility as far as the pricing goes. You'll see, like, so if you play both like I do or anyone, like you'll see like this week, like Fitz, here's an example. And the scoring is different because DraftKings is full PPR, FanDuel is half PPR, point per reception, right? So you take Fitzpatrick on FanDuel, he's like 7,100. On DraftKings this week, he's 5,400. So you're going to see that with players all across the board, like a big discrepancy. And again, because you're getting points, you're getting full points per reception on DraftKings, where you're only getting a half point on FanDuel. But yeah, I just test them out. The best thing to do is, what I'd recommend you do if you're starting, and I still play this way because I think this is personally the best way to play. Just play low dollar entry contests. Play like you can even do like, there's even nickel and quarter contests if you want tournaments. But you do like the single entry stuff. So it'll say single entry. It'll be like $1. There'll be like $1 single entry buy-in tournament. There'll be a $2. Like, don't go over, when you're first starting, don't go over like $2 per contest, and try to stay with single entry. Single entry means that, like, if you enter that contest and I enter that contest, me and you both can only run one lineup in that contest. We can't enter that contest. We can't enter that over and over again. So like the big high rollers, the shark players, they'll play, if it's not single entry or it's 3 max entry or 20 max, they'll play 150 lineups in that same contest. So now if you do it in a non-single entry, you're playing your one lineup, if you're only going to play one lineup per se in a multi-contest, against a guy that's going to play 150 different lineups. And what he's going to do with that is he's not hand building them. Typically he's using an optimizer. He uses a thing, he puts in all his projections, all who he wants, the teams he wants, and then he lets a computer build the best lineups from the information that it has from what he's given them, right? And then he just uploads it. There's a thing he can CVS it. He just uploads it right to the contest, and then it automatically is put in, and then he doesn't have to enter it person by person. Me, I still hand build. I still feel like I can hand build any better lineup than a computer can generate, because a lot of times I don't want to go off of, I have a different feel. And I think a big thing with DFS is, you can get projections, you can have projections. I look at projections. You can look at ownerships, meaning how high a player is going to be owned, and you can run with that. But you also got to play with your gut. You have to play with your gut. If you're on a play, and maybe projections are not saying that this guy is going to be doing this, but you have a weird feeling, you get that gut feeling, like, man, this guy's going to do something this week, do it. Last year, Derek Carr was crap, right? Mitch Trubisky wasn't that great. And I did miss on Mitch Trubisky. I played him like 3 times last year in different weeks. I hit on him one week, though, where he was like barely owned. He had like his 3 touchdown. I think it was against Detroit. His 3 touchdown day. He had high numbers. Because I went with my gut. Projections weren't telling me that. Like, nobody was on the guy. But if you get a weird feeling, it's okay to run with it, right? And maybe you just go one lineup with it. Maybe you just run one lineup with it. That gut feeling. But play it. The other thing I would tell you is, if you do start playing cash games, Terry, a difference between a cash game and a tournament game is cash games pay up to 34% or higher of the field. So if there's 100 people in the contest, you're going to get, it pays 34% or more of the entries, something, depending on what you place. It's usually double ups or 50-50s or head-to-heads or whatever, or 50% of the field wins, and you basically just win double the money, or 40% or 40% more of what you paid. So 90, not 100. That'd be a 50-50 versus a double up. But cash games are more consistent game. Hang on one second, guys. Can I get a Venti Caramel Ribbon Crunch with 2 shots of espresso, please?
Is that all?
That'll do it.
Okay.
That's it.
You are all set then.
Thank you. So, in cash games, really, when you start to get into playing DFS, I personally feel, now my boy Shizzler, Sean, he doesn't play any cash. He's a tournament-only player. I personally feel like everybody has their own opinions, but I feel like cash games are kind of where it's at to keep your bankroll going, because you're not gonna win every tournament. You're not gonna win weekly in tournaments. I mean, if you play multiple lineups and you put a bunch of money in, yes, you might win a tournament here or there. You're probably not gonna take it down though, right? The chances of you taking a tournament down are so slim, right? And depending upon the size of the tournament, like the one I took down last year, there was just under 40,000 people in it. It was a $5 single entry, and will that ever happen again? I don't know. I mean, I keep playing cash games to be able to afford the... Yes. So, and again, you may not win all of your cash lineups. You may have a week in cash or a couple weeks where you have two players get hurt that were pretty much that had a solid floor, right? Like, they're going to get the usage, they're going to get the touches, they're going to get the production, they're the only running back, they're going to get fed, they're going up against a crappy rush defense, and then they get hurt in the first, and you're like, shit, I had that happen last week. I still won about half of my cash lineup games last week, and I had two players. Basically, one got like 1 point, Dallas Gogurt, and who else? Who was the other guy? Another guy. I had two guys in my cash lineup. Cash, I'll usually play anywhere from about $60 to $100 in cash games, because if I double that up and then I play $30 or $40 in tournaments, again, playing mostly $1, $2 entry contests, I have a shot now at winning a big tournament too, and keeping my bankroll, even if I lose those, getting ahead. Hello. 809. All right. Can we get a pup cup? Pup cup? Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Keep the change. Hang on, guys. No, keep it. Keep it.
All right, there's that.
Awesome. Look at this. Pup cup for Zozo. Here you go.
And here's your crab.
Thank you.
You're treating his treat.
Yep,
Right.
appreciate you. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
All right. So, yeah. So playing cash games, that's typically how most, even like the big players that play like thousands and thousands of dollars a day, like this is what they do. They're professional DFS and professional gamblers, where they gamble on games and stuff. Even they play cash games, and they play a high percentage of cash games. That's why when I go and I find my head-to-heads, which is cash games, that's where I'm just going to play against one person, right? So you can play $1 head-to-heads, you can play $5 head-to-heads, $2 head-to-heads, $10, $25, $50, $100. There's guys that play $1,039 in a head-to-head against another guy, like the professionals. I don't. But I'll play $5, $10s, and $25 head-to-heads typically. But when you go and look in the contests, a lot of times they'll have like someone's name. It'll tell their name, like one of the big dogs, like Chipotle Addict. He's like one of the top players in the world. On all of the like 5, 10, 25, 50, you'll see, like, if you go early in the week, you'll see like 25 times. That means he's got 25 head-to-heads for just that he's got available for people that want to play him. And then if they win 80% of their head-to-heads, 70 to 80%, which is typically what they do if you know how to build your cash lineups, unless, again, you have one of those weeks where you get injured players, they're banking. So even if they don't hit a tournament, it doesn't matter, because their bankroll is still, either it's ahead or it's about the same. They haven't had to put more money in. So, what's up, Shaq? Good morning, brother. How you doing, man? Sorry I didn't see I was going through all this. Yes, cash games will continue to give you the ability to play without having to deposit money, right? The key to when you start playing DFS is when you make your first deposit to not have to deposit again. And hopefully you even get to withdraw money, you know? When you win a big one, you get 10.99 like I did from FanDuel. So, well, we got any other questions on games? I like that question, Minner. Do you look at over under in Vegas lines? Okay, yeah, balls. I'm sorry I missed that, guys. Chat's just scroll on. Yeah, definitely, Terry. If you have any questions, man, let me know if you want to get into it. What I would tell you is just start light again. Only just play small. And like if you do a cash game, like, dude, play like $10 or $20 a week, like in NFL, and like I would say at least 50, if not 70% of that, just be cash games, and then put a couple dollars in tournaments, single entry, $1, $2 entries. But the Vegas lines, I do look at Vegas lines. I don't always, again, a lot of what I do is I use my gut feeling. So when I'm looking at a Vegas line and it's like, hey, this is going to be like Seattle, Miami, right? Perfect example. The line's 55 right now. And then I don't know what Seattle's favored. I don't know what it is, but either way, I would look at that game, and from previous weeks, I would say, yeah, I mean, can they get there? Could it go over? Yes. Do I think that the way the game script, the way I look at the game played out, like I told you guys earlier, I feel like it's gonna be a lot of scoring in the beginning of the game, and I feel like Seattle's gonna kind of coast by, and then they're not gonna have any real need to keep pushing the ball down the field fast and keep the pace fast. And that's what I was getting at with the Derek Carr thing last year. Oakland, I forget who they played. I don't even remember who they played, but the line, this was one where I looked at the line, right? And it was a high point total. It was one of the higher point totals of the week. Nobody was talking about Oakland. I forget who they were playing. Nobody was talking about Derek Carr, right? They had, forget who their running backs were in Oakland last year, but Richard and somebody else. And I'm thinking, how in the hell is Oakland going to score these kind of points? And then I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna run with Derek Carr. I feel that they could get there. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how they're gonna get there. If they're gonna get there, it's gonna be from Derek Carr and probably Waller and whoever else they had there. So I went with Carr, and that week, I think that was like one of his only good weeks he had as stat line as a quarterback. So yeah, I will use Vegas, and I do look at them, and anybody that plays should look at them. I mean, if somebody tells you that they don't look at them at all, the over-unders, they don't look at that, I would challenge their process on how they research and what they look at, because we all know that Vegas is usually pretty right on. Guys, even last week, all Colts and the Vikes game, do you guys remember what Vegas had the line at? And touts all over the place were going, I don't see how this is going to even get close to what Vegas is saying. I don't know. I think this game is just going to be so slow. It's going to be a slow-paced game. It's going to be super slow. I'm pretty sure. I think they went over the even the point total what Vegas had them at, and a lot of people. And you got to remember this. Think about this, okay? You have touts. Zoe's giving you guys a close up. She wants to show you guys how pretty she is. She's on the dog prowl. She looks at me like, "You're embarrassing me, Dad. What are you doing?" She's seeing dogs. Anyway. I think I think this is almost more of an advantage. People say there's less edge in DFS these days because of all the touts and all the companies out there. And I listen to different people's podcasts. I look at different people's stuff, throughout the week to see what they're on and what their feelings are on plays and players. But I honestly feel like it's almost an advantage to a player because so often, just because they play daily and they're considered a professional tout or whatever, it doesn't matter, man. Sports is sports. Anything can happen, right? So a lot of times you get these touts that are telling or saying these are the plays, these are the guys you need to be on. Like this guy's gonna be this. If you ask Sean, he screenshots all the time whenever he wins. I usually don't screenshot unless I actually get like a first place or something, or it's something weird, or I do a sport I've never played and I'm just kind of shocked I even cashed in it in a tournament. Look at all these dogs. She's gonna be going crazy. 1 second. But she's on the dog crawl. I think it's actually an advantage because I think there's a lot of times where there's like people will go to a certain show or listen to certain people, and then they might be on a certain play, and then they get talked off that play, and then they're switching their lineups. And like, you got to remember something when you build a lineup in DFS. I mean, unless you just did a quick plug and play, you probably thought out a little bit of how you built that lineup. And there usually, at least in a tournament lineup, there should be correlation, meaning there should be some kind of game script. If someone looked at your lineup, it should almost tell them a story, right? Like when someone screenshots, here's an example. Dude on Twitter, if you guys are on Twitter, a dude on Twitter, I actually retweeted or I asked a question about how much did this guy win, because he played like over 300,000. He's a professional player. He plays thousands daily. He has like over 2 million. It showed in his account in the bottom. He's won milli makers and stuff in the past. But he had a screenshot lineup and people were asking how much did he actually win this week, because he played like $330,000 and it said winning. This is not gonna work now. So he actually played 330,000. So he only actually ended up winning like 4,000, right? Because if he would have told you guys this week that it'd actually be a good idea to stack both of them without Russ as a quarterback instead of Russ with like Mike G and whoever else and Parker, which was really, really strange. It's basically tell a story. So my point of this is when people start hearing from touts or other people and then they start changing players in their lineup and they're doing this last minute, they're changing the whole narrative of their build and how they built their lineup. So let's say we have Deshaun Watson. Let's say we have a lineup and we have Deshaun Watson's our quarterback, right? We have Fuller or Brandon Cooks. We're running it back. We have Dalvin Cook, right? Because we want to have, if you feel like, and people always ask, why would you have that correlation or run it back? Well, because if you think that Deshaun Watson's going to be the best quarterback for his price, he's going to be the highest value, he's got to have one hell of a day, right? And if a quarterback is going to have one hell of a day, the team they're playing has got to probably score a lot of points because at some point this team's probably just going to let off and slow down the game and just try to kill clock to win, right? Yeah, YouTube sucks, man. In and out, 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 in and out. Oh, I think Quados, I think you won. I've seen 2 or 3 comments and everybody's rolling with your vintage, brother. I think you easily won that. All right, man, Cody, appreciate you popping in here. But are changing the whole narrative of how they built the thing. So you have Deshaun Watson, you have Cooks, and then you have Dalvin Cook running it back, right? Because you would assume if the Vikings are in the game with Dalvin Cook, I mean, he's the main focus of our offense, right? He's more likely going to be having a hell of a day if Deshaun Watson's going to have a hell of a day. And Cooks are full are probably going to be your guys. Now they got David Johnson, too. Good old David Johnson for Houston. But let's say somebody just, like, you get off of Deshaun Watson because you hearing people and someone talks you out of playing him. So now you go and you change Deshaun Watson. Now you've kind of changed the whole narrative of your lineup, right? So depending upon what quarterback you play, are you going to play a quarterback that you're going to run naked? Couple quarterbacks that I'd run naked, which I wouldn't be afraid to, like this week, would be like Josh Allen. Even though I would play Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs this week, I would correlate that. I would not be afraid of running him naked. I would also not be afraid of Cam is out, but I wouldn't be afraid of Cam Newton. You can play every week if he's playing, and you can play him naked. Meaning you don't play him with anyone else. You don't correlate him. But like either a receiver and a running back or vice versa. Again, you're looking for players that have the highest ceilings when you're talking tournaments that can get there. Not just have a high ceiling, but you feel like they can get to the high ceiling, meaning they're going to hit their max amount of points. If it's a cash game, you want players that have a solid floor, meaning even if they don't have the greatest day with the amount of volume, they're going to get high volume, right? The running backs, you're usually looking at running backs are going to have at least 20 to 25 touches. They're going to get those touches in the game. Receivers, guys that probably have 25 to at least 35. I mean, but this is important. People always they're trying to find a defense that is going to shut a team out. It's very hard in the NFL to shut a team out and stop a team from scoring. When you're looking at defense, you want a defense you feel they got a better defensive line versus offensive line. So the rush, they're going to get to the quarterback. They're going to be able to sack him, maybe create turnovers, interceptions. Maybe their special teams get lucky and scores a touchdown. Don't try to look at defense. I can't tell you how many it's faster. Guess what happens? Cox or Croft? I'd probably go Cox. What's up, hobbyist? How you been, man? Good to see you, buddy. We're about railing up here in a minute, but I like doing these caffeine with the team morning streams, especially on the weekends. I think I'm going to try to do this on Saturday and Sundays for now on. We can talk hobby, we can talk football. Sunday will be more for football. Dishes are done to get to her. All right, brother, man. Quados, I appreciate you popping in and listening to me rant about DFS and NFL. I appreciate you, man. It was good hanging out yesterday as well. Looks like you're going to take home the challenge this month, so congratulations. And I'll try to figure something out. I'll get you a little something for you winning or something. We'll figure something out. Before you say I can't tell. Yeah, so, Fester, going back to that, how many times, and think about this. Think about how many times you've changed a lineup because you heard somebody talk about someone and get you off a play you're on, and the play ends up doing exactly the feeling you had about it, in the sense of they went off and you took them out, you would someone else, and now you went to that other person and they didn't do crap. And typically high chalky, low priced players very seldom perform. I always feel like you can get an edge as well. It makes the rest of your lineup, it gives you the ability to do so much. Yes, so you need to unless you have enough to prove to yourself that whatever this play you're trying to change yourself on is really going to be better than what you're doing, I would stick with it. I wouldn't change it. How many times, like I said, do you get a play goes off and it was a player you were on and the guy you switched to didn't do crap? Underperformed. Hobbyist, hope you've been well, my friend. So, all right, guys, what time is it? It's almost 11. I'm gonna just relook over a few things on my stuff, get ready for the day, and enjoy some football. Hope everybody has an awesome day. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys, getting my caffeine on, talking some football. We're gonna plan to do this. I'm gonna try to get a little more up on a little more consistency. I don't know that it'll be daily, but I think I'm gonna try to plan Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings streams if you guys enjoy them, and then we'll be doing other things. We'll do an auction here in probably in a few weeks or so as well. BITG should be sending me another big mail day, so when I get all that, I've been getting some other stuff. We'll do an auction and stuff. I'll be trying to do some walk vlogs as well. So I appreciate you guys hanging out today, man. I love y'all. Hope your teams do well today. Go Vikes, even though they suck. And I wish y'all luck if you're playing DFS or on your fantasy team. See y'all later. Love y'all. Be good. Peace.